David James became superintendent of the 20,000 plus student Akron Public Schools in August 2008. He's been with the district since 1992, and the district has more than 50 schools and community learning centers. In the past year, the district partnered with the LeBron James Family Foundation to create a school for students at risk of falling behind. Akron Public Schools have been named a Ford Next Generation Learning Community, offering students a chance to select college and career path while they're studying. The district also offers dual degree programs where students can earn a high school diploma, and a 2-year college degree upon graduation from high school. In addition to his superintendent duties, this past year, David was named president of the Buckeye Association of School Administrators, and the GAR Foundation gave him their Glass Half Full Award. Please welcome David James to the Akron Press Club.
Well, good afternoon, and again, welcome to the 2018 State of the Akron Public Schools Address. I want to thank again the Press Club for sponsoring this annual event, and I'd like to thank the Tangier. This is the first year that they've hosted this event. I'd like to acknowledge my school board members, Board President Patrick Bravo, if you would stand. I don't see Reverend Dr. Curtis T. Walker, who's our vice president, but we have Lisa Mansfield, Tim Miller, Bruce Alexander, and Ginger Baylor. I know there are several former school board members. I saw Reverend Arledge. I saw a couple of Debbie Walsh. All the former school board members, please stand and be recognized. James Hardy. And our elected officials, particularly Eileen Shapiro, County Executive, and Mayor Dan Horgan, and our other elected officials, let's acknowledge them. And to all of our honored guests, welcome. I would also like to acknowledge some of our students here today. We've had our ambassadors who were here showing you to your seats. I have my superintendent seminar students. Please stand. And also, I'd like to acknowledge the Bucktown COC Jazz Ensemble under the direction of Kevin Calavan. Connecting the community to the classroom is our theme for this year's speech. We chose this theme to highlight and celebrate the many ways that members of our community enhance learning opportunities for our students. Your volunteerism, mentorship, experiential learning opportunities, financial contributions, and partnerships provide our students with meaningful relationships and support. These community connections number in the thousands, and we are grateful for every contribution made for the benefit of our students. Last year, I spoke about the future, building upon the excellent work going on in our schools, and how to overcome some of the challenges that prevent student success. These challenges include academic, social, emotional, behavioral, economic, physical health, and a host of others that prevent students from reaching their true potential. Over the last 10 years, I have spoken about the need for our entire community, including business, not-for-profit, philanthropic, faith-based, government, and individuals to wrap their arms around our kids to support their success. And over the last 12 months, I can honestly say that we are moving the needle in terms of helping our kids along the way. I would like to recognize the United Way of Summit County and CEO Jim Mullen and his staff for developing the following bold goals for 2025. Goal 1, 65% of APS third graders reading at or above grade level. Our bold goal 2, 90% of our high schoolers graduating in 4 years, with 60% of those students college and career ready. Bold goal 3, financially empowering 11,000 families in Summit County. And bold goal 4, reducing emergency room visits due to drug overdoses down to 1,000. Now in August of this past year, United Way unveiled a comprehensive strategy maps aimed at achieving these bold goals by 2025. And this work is focused on 4 integrated strategic approaches. Community engagement that is centered on developing key partnerships across multiple sectors of our community to take a hands-on approach to solving these key issues. Wraparound services designed to provide multiple services to entire families. Policy and advocacy work to address systemic and root causes of local issues that affect community conditions. And basic needs support to ensure families and individuals have the necessities for a healthy, stable, and successful life. Now, to achieve these goals, United Way is working with APS to increase third grade reading proficiency for our students by supporting kindergarten readiness, family engagement, grades K-3 attendance, and programs that mitigate summer learning loss among our students. Increasing 4-year graduation rates and improving college and career readiness for students in the Akron Public Schools. United Way will develop support programs that offer mentoring, reduce summer learning loss, increase family engagement, and improve job readiness, and improve middle grades math scores. To achieve the financial empowerment goal under Bold Goal 3, United Way is preparing to open the first financial empowerment center in conjunction with the City of Akron. And this center will provide integrated services of high need to help our families and individuals build assets, reduce debt, raise credit scores, and budget for the future, access to safe and affordable banking services. And again, to reduce emergency room visits due to drug overdoses, United Way will support programs under Bold Goal number 4 to promote drug abuse awareness and prevention. This work is focused on harm reduction for active users, treatment, and increased family and peer engagement for those impacted by the opiate crisis. These strategies represent the first phase of a multi-year approach by United Way to develop innovative programs and drive community investment to achieve these bold goals by 2025. And I can't tell you how pleased I am with Jim's collaboration and support. And you say, why? Is this a United Way speech or an Akron Public Schools speech? Well, I'll tell you. It's because these goals are in complete alignment with the priorities of Akron Public Schools. We want our families to be whole, and United Way is providing a lot of those supports. Moving on, our continued partnership with Summit Education Initiative under the leadership of Darren Weimer also aligns with the work of United Way and Akron Public Schools. By focusing on SEI's 6 leading indicators of success, our schools can measure the progress we're making towards the goal of having 48,000 new college degrees and high-value career credentials in Summit County by 2025. Our focus is on transforming our high schools into college and career academies to help us reach this goal. And again, as Bruce stated, on May 16th, Akron Public Schools was designated as a Forward Next Generation Learning Community. And as part of the Forward NGO network, we're joining 30 other communities across the country in transforming our schools into these college and career academies. The College and Career Academies of Akron are transforming our traditional high school models by preparing all students for careers by linking their subjects in academics to workforce and college pathways. These pathways are designed and supported with the help of many community leaders who are in this room, and they are created to introduce students to a variety of college and career options and to help our students build transferable skills and competencies. The Forward Next Generation Learning model is built upon 3 major elements: teaching all courses through a career lens by linking those core academic subjects with career technical courses, All students being assigned to small learning communities, providing them with a sense of belonging through strong teacher-student relationships, and increased business and community engagement to help teachers relate their courses to authentic real-world problems. All APS students by the end of the 8th grade will select an academy program, and in 9th grade, all students will attend a freshman academy where they will be able to explore career opportunities and select a career pathway that they would like to pursue. In grades 10 through 12, our students will be embedded into an academy program and their career pathway. As many of you know, North High School is our first college and career academy, and last year, Akron Children's CEO Bill Considine announced the first partnership between Akron Public Schools and Akron Children's Hospital. Since that time, we have established the Akron Children's Hospital Academy of Health and Human Services at North High School. The career pathways offered in this academy include biomedical science, early childhood education, allied health, and healthcare operations. Our partnership with Akron Children's Hospital is strong because it provides the opportunity for our students to have access to career mentors, job shadowing, and getting a behind-the-scenes look at the field of healthcare at the hospital location. The second academy at North High School is the Academy of Global Business and Technology, and that will offer pathways in entrepreneurship and marketing, HVAC, programming and software development, and information support and services. Over this last summer and into the fall, committees at our other high schools met to review the career pathways that they recommended for their college and career academy programs. And in addition, we're working on several exciting partnerships that will be announced over the next several months. If you recall at our designation ceremony, Dr. Beverly Warren, president of Kent State University, announced her intent to partner with APS on career pathways that align with their strong innovative programs such as visual and performing arts, interior design, fashion, visual communication and design, and architecture and environmental design. So please stay tuned for a special announcement regarding this partnership, and I'd like to thank Dr. Warren for these exciting opportunities. The Executive Director of Forward Next Generation Learning, Cheryl Carrier, and I have been meeting with the Ohio Department of Education and the Governor's Office of Workforce Transformation, keeping them up to date on what we're doing here in Akron, and making sure that we are in alignment with the state of Ohio's efforts at preparing students for the future. All of us are committed to provide all of our students with the opportunity to explore their world and to be better prepared for what comes after graduation. And this can be accomplished through the power of these partnerships. So in addition to United Way of Summit County, Summit Education Initiative, and Kent State University, we also have many other partners who are critical to the success that we're trying to accomplish for our students. The GAR Foundation has played a key role in helping Akron Public Schools move the needle by supporting the implementation of a variety of innovative programs, providing financial support for the Inventors Hall of Fame STEM middle and high schools, providing support for our college and career academies of Akron, and through hundreds of teacher-level educator initiative grants over the years. The GAR Foundation continues to support this transformation. Their strategic focus is tied to early childhood education, K through 16 education, and economic and workforce development. And because of Christine Mayer's leadership, the GAR Foundation creates synergy between all of the key education and workforce stakeholders by making sure all of our strategies are aligned. So Christine, to you and Kirsten Toth, thank you for supporting this work. Connexus NEO, under the leadership of Sue Lacey, is our go-to organization for local and regional workforce data to inform our decisions regarding career pathways and workforce needs in the greater Akron area. As the convening organization for our work in developing and maintaining the college and career academies of Akron, Connexus NEO constantly provides us with up-to-date workforce information to ensure that our decisions are driven by the demands of our local economy. Along with Stark State College and several manufacturers, we have used industry data to inform our decision-making for our last co-funded community learning center. At the future Kenmore Garfield CLC, we will be building a state-of-the-art manufacturing program to support the demand for machinists and other advanced manufacturing workers. And I know I saw Gary Miller from SGS, Kyocera Tools, and Dave Sattler from Sattler Companies. I saw him walking around. Those are some of our partners and their employers. So we listen to them and we know that their workforce is aging. And so by partnering with them in Stark State College, I think we'll see some of that synergy of bringing some of those high-tech training opportunities to our students. So in addition to hearing from our students, community members, and staff, we'll also include our culinary arts program at the new Kenmore Garfield building, which I was pressured by some of the students who are doing some wonderful things to keep that. So that was a recommendation to the board, and we had a report on that last night. Stark State College President Perry Jones has really been busy finishing up the college's new Akron campus near downtown, and we're very excited about the opportunities that this will bring to our community. To help us meet our bold goals and related workforce transformation, Stark State College has created the Learn to Earn program. In this program, our students can earn college credits through College Credit Plus and courses that can lead to a credential for a high-demand job. And for our students in the audience, you can earn your high school diploma and an industry-recognized credential and enter the workforce directly. You can then use those college credits you've earned toward a Stark State certification or an associate's degree to further your career. For those interested in earning a four-year degree, our partnership with the University of Akron continues to pay dividends. The Akron Early College High School continues to place among the top high schools in Summit County as measured by the Performance Index. Remember, students who attend this school, located on the University of Akron campus, will graduate from high school with a diploma, usually on Wednesday when they have their graduation ceremony and I shake their hands. And then on Saturday, the majority of those students graduate from the University of Akron with an associate's degree. For those students who qualify, our Innovation Generation Scholarship partnership with the University of Akron will pay for students' tuition as a last dollar scholarship to the University of Akron. And I'd like to thank President Matt Wilson for these continuing partnerships and also to future projects related to our college and career academies. There are really some exciting opportunities in the pipeline. Over the last 10 years, we have built 32 community learning centers thanks to our partnership with the City of Akron. In August, we celebrated the dedication and opening of the new Harris Jackson Community Learning Center at the site of the former Jackson Elementary School. Currently under construction are Ellett Community Learning Center and Case Community Learning Center. Case CLC is nearing completion and will be ready in the fall of 2018. Ellett CLC is targeted for completion in the summer of 2019. And 2 weeks ago, we began the community input process to design and build the new Garfield Kenmore CLC at the site of the old Garfield High School. And this will be the last building that qualifies for state matching funds, and it'll be the first building that we construct with our College and Career Academy motto in mind. Last year, I reported on the complicated process of school consolidation because of declining enrollment. And the mergers of Garfield and Kenmore High Schools, Kent and Ennis Middle Schools, Bettis and Harris Elementary Schools were certainly difficult. But I would like to thank the staff at each of the combined buildings and know how proud I am of your efforts to bring these diverse communities together. And I think they deserve a round of applause. I'm especially proud of our students who, with the facilitation of Crystal Jones and Project Ujima, came together to pave the way for these smooth transitions. Students from NSCLC and Kent Middle School worked together with the Akron Zoo and came up with a new school mascot and colors. After nearly 400 votes being cast by students, parents, and community members, they selected their new mascot as the Jaguar. And I want to thank Principal Catherine Rodacher and her staff for a thoughtful transition plan. Thank you. At Kenmore Garfield, and I want to thank a very humble football coach, Kent Boyd, because working with his football players to build a unified team, he had them do a variety of volunteer efforts in the Kenmore community, raising their profile and increasing team membership. And so to Mr. Boyd, Principal Frank Collane, and the staff at Kenmore Garfield, thanks for helping our students and their families make the transition to the combined school. I really appreciate it. And even though our enrollment has now stabilized, the earlier declines in enrollment has resulted in a decrease in state funds for new facilities. So our remaining facilities that will not receive matching funding include Firestone Park Elementary, Pfeiffer Elementary, Miller South and North High School. I will be working with staff to come up with options for upgrades and renovations to these facilities and share that information with the board. Now, over the last 15 years, we have really managed our physical footprint. By not maintaining too much excess square footage, we have been able to shift operational dollars to support instruction. Today, the financial picture for Akron Public Schools remains solid. However, as many of you know, the trend to deficit spending will return one day. On average, additional revenue is needed every 6 years. We are heading into our 8th year, actively managing our budget deficit and continuing to push off the next levy request, while being able to still offer employee raises. With a budget of more than $500 million, we're the 5th largest public school budget in Ohio. And we continue to have excellent financial record keeping and reporting, which has allowed our district to receive the Auditor of State Award for 2 years running, earning the highest possible audit rating. And I want to thank our CFO, Ryan Pendleton, who's really been a great partner in working with the administration and the staff in maintaining, a positive cash flow and budget situation. So previous years of declining enrollment have slowed and in some instances reversed. Our most recent financial report to the board showed less students leaving the district for open enrollment and charter school options. Akron Public Schools has, in the past few years, about 200 students who have attended schools like the Electronic Classroom of Tomorrow, or ECOT. And with the ECOT closure, we stand ready to serve any student in need, regardless of their school affiliation, to return to APS. And we are confident in our abilities to offer a traditional K-12 experience or to deliver our classes through an online course through our virtual school called APS Online. I should add that the difference between APS Online and most other online schools is that we expect students to come into the school from their home regularly to meet with advisors and mentors. They don't simply, thank you. They don't simply stay at home, and use a computer. They have to actually get up, move around, and meet people. And as I stated last year, we really do owe it to you, our taxpayers, to operate our schools in an efficient manner. Previous cost-cutting measures focused mostly on closing and consolidating schools, having a negative impact on our teaching staff and school support staff. Today, however, we're focusing our consolidation efforts on central office operations. With the school board's approval last night, we are embarking on a new home for our 2 administration buildings, the Sylvester Small Administration Building and the Conrad Ott Staff Development Center. The purchase of the SummaCare building at 10 North Main Street will allow enhanced collaboration and operational efficiencies. We are confident these operational efficiencies will help pay for the building over a 7 to 10-year period. This move will provide our central office support staff with the connectedness to excel and build our customer service reputation and experience. This move will also create an efficient work environment for the district's team and will right-size our administrative staff and professional development space to save resources and maximize impact. This downtown location with ample parking means we remain centrally located and accessible to our families, and will help save operating costs by eliminating some duplicate work now being completed across both facilities. So that will definitely save money, help us respond more quickly to our public. This building's energy efficient, again, saving operating costs, complies with the Americans with Disabilities Act. If you have been to our building, in our building we call the elevator the demon drop. It's always broken down. So again, in addition to Ryan Pendleton, I also like to thank Deborah Folk, our Executive Director of Business Affairs, for assisting us in this endeavor, which is really long overdue. In terms of the building name, we will keep the name of Sylvester Small on the new building. However, we will also keep the Conrad Ott Staff Development Center name for the professional development space that is planned for the 2nd floor of the building. I'd like to thank the City of Akron, Summit County for their cooperation in a multi-party real estate deal to accomplish this acquisition, and will certainly work with United Way, who needs our parking lot at 70 North Broadway, to help with their transition into the Sojourner Truth building. In addition, on the healthcare front, we are implementing a new healthcare delivery model. Paladina Health is a physician access care model aimed at providing patients with increased physician access. This program is designed to increase patient engagement and better use of the healthcare system, improving overall employee health. A recent cost analysis shows that by employing Paladina Health, the Akron Public Schools could expect to save a total of 17 to 20% over our current healthcare model. Here are some of the exciting benefits about this new plan. Direct access to an experienced primary care physician, including longer appointments and after-hours phone access for urgent needs. Easy to schedule appointments with significantly shorter appointment wait times. And for our employees, no co-pays or co-insurance, which minimizes the cost barrier to accessing our healthcare system. Telemedicine benefits, including phone appointments and secure email with the physician, and convenient locations. Paladina Health is committed to a successful relationship with Akron Public Schools, and representatives are closely working with the Akron Public Schools to open a Paladina Health clinic within the district. I would like to thank our Health Benefits Advisory Committee, comprised of union representation and members of the administrative staff, who met throughout this past year to review our health insurance plan options and selected Paladina Health as our latest option for health care. I think that is a great example of collaboration. Last year, getting back to academics, at the state superintendent's graduation requirements work group, a group of superintendents, some labor leaders, and other stakeholders came up with additional college and career-based pathways to graduation, based on data that showed many Ohio students would not graduate because of new, more rigorous Ohio graduation requirements. At that time, I reported that about 50% of APS high school juniors were in need of various levels of support to meet the new requirements and receive a high school diploma. This year, we have implemented some additional interventions for kids through the hard work of our Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Ellen McWilliams, and her staff. So 636 seniors are enrolled in taking advantage of these new pathways to graduation, representing 42% of our 2018 class. All of these students are individually mentored and supported by an APS staff member. Each student is completing a rigorous requirement regimen, including college and career-oriented senior projects that allow them to graduate. So again, to Dr. McWilliams-Woods and her staff, I'd like to thank you for your advocacy for these new graduation pathways, as well as a quick restructuring of these services to maximize the opportunities for our students. Over the last several years, I have also spoken about student behavior and discipline. And to be honest with you, the Akron Education Association and I have not seen really eye to eye on student discipline. Now, aside from the rhetoric, here are the facts. The Akron Public Schools, we're the 8th highest in the state when it comes to disciplining our students, especially when it comes to African American students, males in particular. Over the last couple of years, verbal and physical assaults by students have been a heated point of discussion with the association. You would think that all of our schools fit the depiction of North Manual Trades High School from the 1955 film, The Blackboard Jungle, starring Glenn Ford and Sidney Poitier. While I will admit that a small number of our students do resemble those depicted in that movie, this is not the norm. Looking at discipline over the last couple of years, our verbal and physical assaults were as follows. In 2015-16, 96 verbal assaults, 99 physical assaults. In 2016-17, 90 verbal assaults and 120 physical assaults. And so far this year, 69 verbal assaults and 45 physical assaults. But let's look at these numbers in perspective. The 114 students referred to the Board of Education for these verbal and physical assaults so far this year represent a little over half of 1% of our student body of 21,000 students, 0.54%. Of these 114 students, our hearing officer found that 14 did not rise to the level of a physical or verbal assault. And remember, these situations really do involve our teachers directly. So of the 22 grievances filed by the association, 9 involve students with disabilities, including 3 who are severely disabled. 2 involve kindergarten students, and 4 involve students in grades 1 to 3. Yes, absolutely. My kids went to Akron Public Schools and graduated, and my expectation for them, as all students, is to respect their teachers and to come to school every day ready to learn. In some cases, however, a student's disability may be the reason they are not ready to learn. And look, I know it can be easy to be criticized for everything we do, and that's one of my jobs as superintendent. But I have to look at the big picture. And yes, I acknowledge that some of our students have behavior problems, just as all school districts do. However, we have increasingly provided more educational options that provide support that students need to learn and to change their behavior. Now, we just can't wish everyone out into the cornfield. There are due process rights afforded to all of our students so their parents can see the evidence in a hearing conducted by the board. Then there are federal privacy laws that prevent us from releasing student records, which include discipline. So let me back up and tell you an actual story. Excuse me. More than several years ago, a parent came to see me with a child. The parent was concerned because this student was getting into trouble at school. The student had been assigned to one of our alternative programs, but was still getting into serious trouble. So I listened to the student and the parent. I tried to encourage the student to focus more on the future, and I even suggested that this student get a new circle of friends. Well, that student is no longer with us in the literal sense, and that's really sad. So I don't want to hear people say that I don't understand what happens in classrooms and I don't understand what teachers are going through, because I've been a parent. I've had issues with my own kids as they went through Akron Public Schools. But I want to think about what some of these parents are also going through. These are actually very complicated situations, and it's very hard to talk about it because there's always some exception or some sharp turn that you can take. Every single discipline issue has to be looked at individually. If a kid is special needs, is that behavior part of their disability? We have kids that have autism, and you know that's a spectrum, and kids can behave a variety of ways. We also have some students who are emotionally disturbed, but there is something called free and appropriate public education, which means all the kids that come through our door deserve to be educated. I think the issue with the association is whether the behavior should rise to a point where a kid is transferred out of that classroom or school to another school. But what happens to some of our kids who really have some of those severe behavior problems, they get transferred to another school and then they mess up there and they get transferred someplace else. And the thing is, we really need to find a location and a program and supports for those students so they can continue their education. Some of our students and families are in crisis. And so it boils down to building positive relationships and providing the appropriate supports. So the next person I'd like to recognize is Jerry Craig with the ADM board, where we have access to new behavior programs such as the PACS Good Behavior Program. This program is a classroom-based behavior management strategy, particularly for elementary school students. It's designed to prevent disruptive activity. Classroom teams are given small rewards for positive behavior, such as being on task or displaying cooperation. And it actually has been successfully implemented across diverse school settings and has been shown to increase academic engagement and reduce disruptive behavior. PACS teaches students self-regulation, self-control, and self-management in the context of working with others, and has been proven to improve attention and reduce impulsive behaviors. Now, we were approached by the ADM board in January of 2015 to pilot PACS because of data from the 2014 Countywide Youth Risk Behavior Survey. To date, we have trained 55 teachers in 13 schools to use PACS in their classrooms. We have seen major improvements in student engagement, 75 to 125 fewer disruptions per hour across these schools in their classes, resulting in 60 to 90 minutes more learning time each day, and improved benchmark scores that predict success on standardized tests. I'd like to thank Carla Sibley and Andrew Sicardi and our teacher volunteers for supporting this program. Another important aspect of removing behavior as a barrier to learning is mentoring. iCare Mentoring, under the leadership of Jonathan Greer and part of United Way Service portfolio, continues its mission of mentoring one child for 1 hour once a week for 1 school year. On January 11th, I attended the annual iCare Mentoring Appreciation Celebration at Firestone CLC. We currently have 292 mentors mentoring 338 students across grades K through 12 at 39 schools. However, iCare Mentoring has 124 students who are waiting for a mentor. That evening, the keynote speaker was Laura Schroff, author of An Invisible Thread. An Invisible Thread is a true story of how Laura met an 11-year-old homeless African-American boy named Maurice in Manhattan in 1986. At the time, Laura was a 35-year-old single advertising sales executive. And as she told the audience that evening, Maurice had asked her for change while she was about to cross the street. She looked at him, said no, and kept walking. As she tells the story, she got about halfway across the intersection, she stopped. She turned around, walked back, and started up a conversation with Maurice. She also took him to lunch. That began a 30-year relationship that still exists today. And it's a powerful story of what mentoring can do. And my challenge to you today is to join with iCare Mentoring, sign up so we can reach those 124 students who are eagerly awaiting your help and guidance. Last year, I also reported that Project Grad Akron was cited as an exemplar for the implementation of the State of Ohio Community Connectors Grant, doing something similar to what iCare Mentoring is doing, but in this case, Project Grad supports Buchtel CLC. And while that program continues, we have worked with Project Grad Akron to expand their services to North High School's college and career academies. They're there to support a college-going culture. So I'd like to thank Jackie Silas Butler of Project Grad Akron for your continued support. Thank you. We also continue our partnership with Summit County Juvenile Court and Judge Linda Teodosio and her staff. Our partnership with the City of Akron and the Akron Police Department continues. In fact, a recent incident at Buchtel CLC where a student had placed a firearm in his locker was handled because another student spoke up, and our resource officer acted quickly. So I really want to thank the city and Officer Vaughn for handling that situation. Now, incidents like this are really not the norm, but let me review with you what is. We started Hire APS Kids, connecting students to potential employers through a jobs available link on our website. Glover CLC students gave up their lunch and recess for 3 days each week to create a school newspaper. Better yet, sales of their paper raised $900 last year, which went to Children's Hospital. 91.3, the Summit continues to donate musical instruments to young people through its successful Music Alive program. We entered the 6th year of Savannah James Prom Promise, providing dresses for APS senior young ladies. Cyberlink CLC created a unique sensory room to the memory of a student, Shanice Riley, who died in a fire. You'll also notice a lovely plaque with her smiling face on it at the school's entrance. I'd like to thank Principal Jennifer Moff for that. I want to thank the Elks Pride of Rubbertown Lodge 1594 for quietly making significant contributions to students at Mickey Bright, again, this year. They donated 43 new coats along with hats, gloves, and other items to every first grader at the school. East CLC, North High School, STEM Middle School. Last year, Roswell, Kent, and Miller South and Higher all received the Governor's Thomas Edison Awards for excellence in STEM education. And many of our teachers are part of that honor. Our Teacher of the Year, Jill Finnegan, was also named an Employee of Distinction this year by Goodwill at its annual recognition program. And last year's Teacher of the Year, Jennifer Walls, was named Summit County Teacher of the Year. Congratulations to both. Firestone CLC performing artist brought home another Dazzle Award. Raina Moran was named Best Actress and went to New York for the Jimmy Awards as a nominee. At Findlay CLC, music teacher and very busy opera singer Brian Johnson traveled with the Cleveland Orchestra for encore performances of the opera The Cunning Little Vixen in Europe. Brian even FaceTimed his students while in Vienna. He's been a music teacher with APS for 28 years. We've received numerous scholastic awards, once again, too numerous to mention, but higher. Miller South and Firestone all excelled. Miller South received 15 Gold Keys awards, and Firestone had 10. 2 students received 2 Gold Key portfolios. Firestone CLC students had a hand in helping with new creation downtown. The new mural, Dawn Revisited, greets visitors at the Mill Street entrance of the Freedom Trail. APS was recognized by the National Association of Music Merchants Foundation for outstanding music education programs. North High School student Shyam Dahl was recognized as Marketing Student of the Year by the Akron Rotary Club. He received a $1,000 scholarship. Top students from ECLC attended the Business Professionals of America National Leadership Conference in Orlando. ECLC Information Technology technology members Mariah Lloyd and Tyler Silcox joined more than 6,000 other conference delegates from across the nation to participate in national level business skill competitions, workshops, general sessions, and national officer candidate campaigns and elections. The Jennings CLC Chess Club played in its first chess tournament ever and ended up taking second place in the state of Ohio. Student Bishop Tamang was the first place winner in the middle school division with 5 wins. The Washington Post an annual recognition program named Firestone CLC among the most rigorous high schools in America. Our teacher academy at Buckle CLC had a successful state competition. In fact, it went so well, many of the students placed in the top 10. 3 went on to the national competition in Phoenix. We are bringing back Safety Town with the help of the city of Akron. And speaking of safety, last year we lost 6 lives of students in separate house fires. And contributing to each death was the same factor, no working smoke detectors in their homes. So in response to these tragedies, we have formed a stronger partnership with the Akron Fire Department and the American Red Cross. We have 21,000 students living in thousands of homes and apartments, and our schools have reached out to connect our families to this effort to provide and install smoke alarms free of charge. The Safety Around Water program run by the YMCA provided water safety classes for several hundred students last year, and the program could draw more students as it continues this summer. Our Family Academy continued to help our families with ongoing workshops. Last year, we focused on taking control of finances and helping from financial and life coaches, guiding folks on budgeting, debt issues, boosting credit scores, and funding education. Portage Path CLC students joined the Summit County Historic Society for commemorating the history of the Portage Path at the event, marking the trail of the Portage Path Walk. Schools that won sports titles in 2017, Ellet, Firestone, East, Buckle, Litchfield, and Jennings. We were honored as being one of the best communities for music education in 2017. Tom and Dee Gender, somewhere in the back over here, of the Akron Promise, and in conjunction with Stark State College Foundation, have launched a scholarship to benefit the graduates of Kenmore Garfield High School. The Kenmore Garfield Stark State College Scholarship will provide up to 10 scholarships for up to 2 years toward tuition and books for the Kenmore Garfield class of 2018 who attend Stark State College. To be eligible, students must graduate from Kenmore Garfield, be Pell Grant eligible, and reside in the city of Akron and pursue a full-time certificate or degree at Stark State College. Now, there are many, many more positive stories that highlight our wonderful teachers, our wonderful staff, and our wonderful students. This also includes our work with the Firestone Cluster Schools on implementing the International Baccalaureate Program. With Firestone, Litchfield, and Case Community Learning Centers, King, Portage Path, and Resnick COCs are on their way to becoming part of this rigorous program. We also continue to implement our one-to-one laptop program called One to World, providing Chromebook computers to all APS students. This allows them to use these devices at school and at home. With our one-to-one initiative, we see a definite increase in students accessing online textbooks and materials. And during our winter holiday break, there were a total of 720 ebooks checked out by APS students. Our partnership with Kent State University's WIC Poetry Center, where teaching artists work with many of our English language learners on writing poetry. This experience allowed our students to break away from the language barriers to freely express themselves, to bring their voices to life in the poems that they write. The result of their work is the Traveling Stanzas, Writing Across Borders exhibit on display through February 17th at Summit Art Space on East Market Street in downtown Akron. Now, before it travels, across the country, it's here. And last, and certainly not least, I'd like to talk about a promise that was made. But before that, I just want to mention some other, because when you come to these things, you can't remember everybody. And then people come in the room, and I'm like, that's why I was up here writing. But, Goodyear, AMHA, Bridgestone, Key Bank, SUMA, Cleveland Clinic, Akron General, our Education Motivation Success Group, which is a faith-based group led by Bishop Joey Johnson that come together to help our schools, the NAACP, Judy Hill, Child Guidance and Family Solutions, Greenleaf, Minority Behavioral Health, Pastoral Counseling, Junior Achievement. I'll probably get beat up for forgetting someone, but all these folks have partnered with us in some way, form, or fashion. So getting back to a promise made. The LeBron James Family Foundation has kept its promise to help our Akron students who are at risk in reading and who need additional academic interventions and social-emotional supports before they fall further behind their peers. Last year, we teamed up with LeBron to create a new school that will provide a stable, supportive, and safe environment so learning can be the focus. Teams of stakeholders from across this community worked throughout last year and submitted a plan to the school board in the fall outlining what we are calling the I Promise School. Opening its doors later this year with a newly identified 3rd and 4th grade classes, the school will eventually house students in grades 1 through 8. The school will be housed at 400 West Market, which currently houses our Central Learning Center. This is the culmination of many years of on-the-ground work and research-based interventions. The I Promise School will take everything that's worked to motivate, educate, and inspire students in Akron, turn it into a brick-and-mortar school tailored just for them. It will be a place where students are supported and challenged, with wraparound services available not just for the students, but for the entire family. We are very excited to see our partnership with LeBron and the LeBron James Family Foundation reach even higher levels of successful collaboration. To Michelle Campbell, her crew, and LeBron, I say thank you for the many children you have supported over the years and for many more years to come. So, and in closing, there is one more thing. Okay, so I know everyone's about that Columbus thing, so I'll address it now. So let me level with you. Throwing my name in the hat for the Columbus City School Superintendent position is not about the school board, it's not about my staff, it's not about the community nor anyone in this room. It's really about opportunity to be challenged in a unique way, so I can grow and further develop my skills. Because I really do love this community. I've been with the Akron Public Schools for 26 years and nearly 10 as superintendent. Now, the opportunity to lead the largest public school district in the state of Ohio is compelling. But please rest assured that your friendship and your partnership will really remain in my heart for the rest of my life. Now, as I look back over the last 10 years, we've done some wonderful, some remarkable things. We've all faced some great challenges, and I acknowledge that there's a lot more that we need to do. But I remain confident that our school board and our partners, many of you in this room, our entire community will continue to make decisions that are in the best interests of our children. Now, however, I like to point out that Columbus is in the middle of a search process that's not over, and I have not been offered the job, okay? And believe me, it's not an easy decision to even consider going somewhere else. But either way, when I hear something, you'll hear something. So finally, on behalf of everyone here at the Akron Public Schools, I really like to thank you for taking the time to help our students have the best chance of future success. We cannot allow issues with a small percentage of our student population erase the groundwork laid by our excellent teachers and staff in promoting student success. Because student success is accelerated when we connect our community to the classroom. Our students need everyone in this room to rally behind their academic and social emotional development. So I ask you, be ready to say yes when we call to explore ways for you to support our teachers, our children, and their families. God bless and thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You took my first two questions. As is the tradition of the Press Club, we invite questions from the audience. Just hold up the white cards on your table and someone will be around to pick them up. To get things started, you talked about Columbus. If you go down there and can straighten out state government, what is the one or two things you wish that Columbus would do to support Akron Public Schools?
You would think I'd have a quick answer for that. I don't think, it's hard to communicate what some of these other options have done to our traditional public schools. I went to a traditional public schools, as many people in this room have. But when we're allowing, a school like a ECOT or, some of the other models, we've seen a lot of these schools peel money away from traditional public schools and then not do what's right for kids. It's actually appalling. I'm sitting there preparing my taxes. I'm like, what? But some of our tax dollars are actually funding some of these experiments. I'm not saying that all charter schools are bad, but the majority of them, proven through data, in Ohio are not performing as well as even the 8 urbans. And we see kids in our district who leave, go to charters, come back, and they're no better off than before they left us. I really think it's about time, people stood up for their public schools. Many of the great minds in our country went to public schools. And so, I think that's one thing we can show public schools work and that we can be successful.
Again, any questions, just fill out the cards and bring them up. In the wake of what's gone on with the electronic classroom of tomorrow, where the state has ordered the charter school to repay some $60 million, do you see a shift from the state where charter schools are being held to the same level of accountability as public schools?
Well, that's a good example of where we have to document, so let's talk about it like this. The state auditor's office is in our building, 4 months out of the year? It's ridiculous. You can't rip off a roll of toilet paper. They're going to find it. How in the world can $80 or $90 million just show up? And then when the state says we want our money back because Maybe you had 30% of the students actually taking classes, but you're getting paid for the other 70% of, again, taxpayer money. That's just criminal. But again, when you look at how the lobbyists are set up, if you go to the State House, you'll see what I mean, because they're in there constantly. And it doesn't matter whether it's a legitimate purpose. You know, as president of BASA, I've had to go to the State House and talk to different states. I know, you know, Bill Considine, Perry Jones, we will cross each other's paths in Columbus, but for some folks, they're there and they're paying big money to get rules changed. And I just think that's not right. And more of us need to stand up to that.
Here's a question from the audience. How can you justify remaining in a nearly 100-year-old school building, Pfeiffer School?
I think I know who asked that question. I hope it's not a kindergarten teacher from Pfeiffer who I visited that classroom. Well, you're absolutely right. There are some things that we need to do in terms of upgrading Pfeiffer, Firestone Park, Miller South and North. And as I said, we're going to be working with the school board on trying to see how we can fix that, because I know that, you know, in the spring when it gets hot, there's no air conditioning, the classrooms are small, so that's something that we have to work on.
Another question from the audience. Thought I heard you say that a bold goal is to have 60% of the graduates in career college ready. What about the other 40%? What happens to those folks?
Right. So, you know, we are different organizations. So United Way set something up that, you know, from their research they thought was something that was attainable. In Akron Public Schools, we have a higher goal, but we're all working together. SEI's goal is a little bit different than that. So it isn't about forgetting about the other 40%. We definitely believe that all of our kids can be successful, and we all had to have a starting off point. And that doesn't mean that these goals and all of our metrics don't get looked at again year to year, because they do. But in no way does that mean we're forgetting about that other 40%. There are lots of programs, as I mentioned, you know, Learn to Earn with Stark State College. Last year I talked about programs where we're helping students boost their ACT and college entrance score, partnerships with University of Akron and Stark State, so we're not forgetting about those other 40%. How will partnerships with United Way and other community members change the experience of classroom teachers? That's the wonderful part of this, because our experiment at our STEM middle school and high school proved that when we have outside people, for instance, people who come in from Goodyear that work with our teachers and students. I remember Sam Landers, who was an engineer at Goodyear, coming in, working with some of our students. It's actually, you know, provided opportunities for our teachers to learn what the real world is like, how it's going to be for our students, and to actually collaborate with some people who can bring more materials and options to classrooms so that kids can learn more. I'll give you an example. I was talking with someone several years ago about, this was a substitute teacher who said, in that classroom, none of the kids want to do anything. And so in the corner were science kits, and he opened one and said, okay, we're going to start working on this. He said the worst behaved kid in the classroom got mad at the other kids because they kept talking and he couldn't get the directions, and was totally engaged in that work. You know, Carla works with Cuyahoga Valley National Park for some of our struggling rising 8th graders. I couldn't believe it, but on Saturday morning, they would have a bus come pick up kids to take them to the park for an experience. Every Saturday, the kids were at the bus stop waiting. These were kids who were struggling, who like, I'm not interested in school. So we know through a combination of good teaching and great partners, we can see a lot of success and getting that spark to ignite in the minds of our kids so they're successful. A couple more questions concerning students. Can we expect alternative graduation pathways for upcoming seniors? And what are your concerns about ESL students who are having a hard time meeting the graduation requirements? So yes, there are these multiple pathways that the state school board has provided, and they've actually been extended, I believe, another year or two into the future. For our English as second language or English language learners, I know Dr. Tuan Nguyen was here somewhere. It's all about providing supports. I mean, when you look at some of the experiences that we're providing, like the Wick Poetry Center, in an indirect way, it's helping kids with those language skills. If you would have been at Summit Arc Space, I know Christine Mayer was there to see what some of these English language learner kids were doing. It's absolutely working to improve their language skills. And we do have a lot of supports. I always say, I think on North Hill, and I probably will get it wrong, but one number sticks in my mind was like 27 different languages and dialects. And then when I go out there, I have to say hello to kids. It's ciao, salam, bao, ni hao, and a whole bunch of other, all those different languages. It's hard for our teachers, but guess what? Many of them have picked up on that, so that they're making the kids feel more welcome and actually helping them in their achievement as well.
What is the plan for schools in the Garfield and Kenmore cluster, particularly elementary education, and how are you working with the community and parents going forward?
So we had our first combined community meeting for the Kenmore Garfield new CLC. And I know we can do a better job of communicating that in the community because we had some folks who didn't hear about it in the Garfield cluster. People heard about it in the Kenmore cluster, so we're working on it. We'll probably send stuff out in utility bills and some other things. But it's a much larger cluster with many more elementary schools. Some of them have been merged. But we've been working with Project Ujima to help those communities come together. And I think when you look at our design as we come through this process of coming up with the design, we're going to have some exciting pathways for education at the new Kenmore Garfield CLC. And then as we work through our college and career academies, we're also looking at how we're going to integrate our middle schools into that. So that would be in a CLC. And then what do we do at the elementary level? So that big transformation of college and career academies is not just about high schools. It's also about our middle schools and elementary schools and really trying to change and reframe the conversation of what that education means. For many of our students, having that lens of thinking about a career and thinking about the future can start a lot earlier. And so those are really the plans along those lines for that cluster as well.
I hope I get this question right. I'm having a hard time reading it. There's a growing use of phones in middle schools, and that continues in high school, where it's a continuous distraction and cyberbullying may be a threat. Is there going to be more enforcement at the schools and academies regarding the use of phones in the schools?
I have to take a drink of water on that. At one point, we thought about in our new buildings putting in these blockers to block a cell phone, but FCC told us that was illegal, so we couldn't do it. I don't know. I'll certainly say I'm not happy when I'll see, for instance, a video of a teacher getting, body slammed to the floor, and then it's all floating all over the, over the internet. But I think we have to help educate our kids on responsible uses of technology, and the phones are one. Cyberbullying is a big issue, but this is the funny thing. It's like a lot of people, oh my God, it's the schools. It's not this, it's our whole community. You think they're not, once they leave school, they're not cyberbullying? A lot of the issues that we have are from issues that happen out in the neighborhoods and at home. You go over some cousin's house and there's some people across the street, and now you're, it's and which is why the board is so smart in trying to put together an ad hoc committee on discipline, because it involves our entire community. The schools are like my wife doesn't let me use it because everything I touch, I break. The HEPA vacuum that picks up everything in the house, I'm not allowed to I have to use the old one. But, it's like that. Schools are sucking up everything from the community that they're in. And so discipline isn't just about school. It's about the entire community. And how do we figure out ways in our churches, in our malls, in our grocery stores? I'm telling you, you want to talk about verbal assaults, just go into a Mark's or a Giant Eagle or Acme parking lot. You'll see a lot of them. When that cart hits your car and puts a dent in it, there's a lot of verbal assaults going on. And that's where our kids are learning this from. They're learning it from parents. My mouth would have been washed out with soap and I would have been stuffed under the front porch if I would have done a 10th. And my dad's going to be 93 years old, and I'm still scared of him. So believe me, as a parent, I understand, but that is really a big community-wide issue that we're going to have to handle, and I'm very frustrated with the technology because, believe me, as superintendent, I have to deal with the parents who come in with their kids and complain, about an issue that happened in school or a principal or teacher that did me wrong, and we have to kind of ferret that out. And I'm telling you, a lot of that stuff with what now, my daughter who's in college says Facebook's for old people. Now it's something else. I can't keep up with it. I know a lot of us can't.
On that note, I'll end it with this final question. Since LeBron James now gets his own school, would you consider letting him be a principal? And do the recent trades that the Cavs made increase his chances of being a principal?
Well, let's just say that if they can play for now all the way through the way they played against Boston, I think we could find some way of making them a principal. At least principal for a day. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you, David.
Thank you. You're welcome.